Well, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Welcome to Morning Teen Allegations. This is your host, Bianca Goolsby, and I am so excited to be here today. Hello. How y'all doing? I need y'all to write something in the comments. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Good morning. And Terry said, let the tea begin. Oh my goodness, my goodness. There's a lot going on. And so I can't wait to get started today. Good morning, Tiffany. What a week, Terry said. What a week. For those that are watching this live, good morning. How you doing? For those that are watching the replay, I love you and welcome. Well, welcome to Morning Tea and Allegations. This is season 3, episode 10. And the title of today's episode is 30 Days Notice in WWJD. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a host of a whole bunch of other things too. So please invite your community members up in here. Please let them know that we are live. We are on it today, baby. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, let's get started with our church announcements, okay? So, for those of you that did not know, we had a task force that was scheduled at the beginning of the month. And so for those of you that were unaware, there have just been a lot of things that have happened in my personal life, whether it's me personally or with my wife, my family. And so I just thank y'all in advance for the prayers, the love, just supporting us in this work. And so I did move the date of the Cyber Task Force, and me and school board member Cam Perez will be on the last Monday of the month, okay, at 6:30 p.m. So that is June 26th at 6:30 p.m. We are going to be having a conversation in the Cyber Task Force regarding how to protect your children and what ways can you set up the device to protect our children. I can't stress this enough, okay? For those of you that are watching or that will watch later, you giving your child a device without parental control is something that needs to be addressed immediately. Children have access to so much on the internet and on their devices that we need to make sure that we are intentional with how that thing's set up. So, June the 26th at 6:30 p.m. I will post the link in the comments for you to RSVP, for you to join the conversation, okay? But please join us. Please join the conversation. It's really vital that we do, okay? Amen, amen, amen. Next, I want to go ahead and move forward because we have so much to cover. I want to go ahead and play the disclaimers because you already know how we rock and how we do things over here. So let me go ahead and get that queued up. But first, I just want to just say a thank you to the folks in Patreon, the people that support this work and this movement. I thank you. I love you. And it takes a village out here. And I just really hope that we can be intentional and pay attention to what's happening because alarm bells have been ringing about the state of public education for quite some time now. And so we don't need selective outrage and selective participation now. So let's go ahead and roll the disclaimer because we got a lot to talk about. Here we go.
Thank you, church members, as we have additional announcements and disclaimers that require your full attention. I am a certified snitch and whistleblower that reports on what is happening in our community. Like I always say, people lie, receipts don't. With that stated, the content used in this programming is protected under fair use. In addition, the views and opinions on this programming belong to me. I hold myself accountable and prioritize accuracy and truthfulness in my communications. So unless you have receipts, don't start with me. God is still working on me. I love the block button to protect my peace, and I desire to snitch on everybody, including me. Thank you for your attention and govern yourselves accordingly. Amen.
Amen, 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 amen to those announcements. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the seventh largest school district in the nation, and hell, nationwide, right? Thursday, I was inundated with so many alerts, right? No one knew what was coming. For those of you that need context on what I'm talking about, on Thursday, we were notified that the superintendent of the seventh largest school district in the nation has submitted his resignation letter that looked like a resume. hmm The day prior, Wednesday, we found out and was alerted that Terry Connor, who was second in command of the seventh largest school district in the nation, was appointed to be the superintendent of Sarasota County. When I tell you just those two things alone scream, well, what is happening in Hillsborough? And of course, there was a lot of rumors, a lot of accusations, a lot of just stuff that's happening, right? And so, you know me, I'm going to get the receipts because people I receipts don't. I've been telling y'all this from the very, very beginning. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Terry Connor, for those of you that don't know. So Terry Connor, he is headed to Sarasota County, and he had been applying for different jobs all across the state, okay? Now, what I do find interesting and what I want to play for you is this clip of his interview, well, not with Sarasota, but with another county, okay? So he interviewed with Osceola County, and he had his 3-minute pitch on what is happening in Hillsborough, and I want you to hear and intently listen to what Terry has to say about Hillsborough. Let's roll the clip.
So for this process, we will have a full 90 minutes of our interview today. We will start by giving you 3 minutes to give your opening statement and anything you'd like us to know before we get started. Each board member will ask a series of questions in a block of 15 minutes, and they're going to be related to our strategic plan. We will ask about 4 to 5 questions, although the number of questions that we ask depends on how long you take to answer those questions. And at the end, you will have some time to give your ending statement or ask any questions or thoughts that you may have before we end today. So we will start by giving you your 3 minutes for your opening statement.
Well, thank you. I am Terry Connor. I currently serve as the Deputy Superintendent in Hillsborough County Public Schools. I'm humbled to be here today, considered a finalist. I want to thank you for taking the time to choose me as a finalist. It is definitely an honor. Also want to thank FSBA, who is here today and has been very supportive through this process. And lastly, I really want to take time to thank my wife, who is here supporting me today. She has made several personal and professional sacrifices to allow me to pursue this calling of educational leadership. And I just thank her for I hope you get to spend some time with her, because I think you will like her a lot more than you like me, and that will help me in the process. So I want to share, I know you've had an opportunity to look at my resume and my materials, and I don't want to recap all of those experiences. I really want to highlight 3 things that I think you should know about me. The first is my passion, why I do this work, what drives me to do this work. Secondly, my track record of success. And thirdly, my vision for your superintendent here in Osceola County. So my passion, what drives me to this work? Every day I get to get up and make decisions for 225,000 students that impact their lives. And I take that very seriously. I know that the decisions that I make, I center them on making sure I'm providing the best educational opportunities for students so that they can be prepared to be full option graduates. Whether they choose a career, they go to college, or a military option, that's my responsibility, and I am so thankful to have that, and I'm I take it very seriously. I was a first-generation college student. I came from a family who didn't have the financial means, that didn't really know how to navigate the system, and because of teachers in my life that worked with me and helped shape my trajectory, I owe it to them from why I'm here today. And that is what drives this work. Those conversations that you have with a child outside of class are so impactful because they can change a student's life. And I was an example of that. And so that drives me each and every single day. And it's why I became a teacher, so that I could do the same. And I went back and taught in the school where I was a student so I could help students who are in the same circumstance as me. And that has been a wonderful privilege. Secondly, my track record. I have had the blessing to serve as the number 2 in 2 school districts here in Florida, Clay County and Hillsborough County. As the number 2, I have been a part of all of the executive decisions related to operations, finance, human resources, and definitely academics, serving as the chief academic officer in both counties. So I know that I'm prepared holistically to move into the role of superintendent. I have a very successful track record in improving student achievement. In Clay County, we moved the academic state ranking from 20th to 8th. In Hillsborough County, we moved the academic ranking from 36th to 19th in 2 short years under the conditions of the pandemic. When we arrived to Hillsborough County, we had historical DNF schools of about 28 schools that have just persistently been DNF. We were able to reduce those schools down to 4 in just 2 years. Also, persistently low performing schools. Those are schools that have been below a C 3 out of the last 5 years. Hillsborough had the highest in the state, 39. We reduced that down to 18 in 2 years, and we're on track to continue to reduce that down. So that track record has just led me to know that I know what the effective components are to help a school district move to the next tier. And when I see my vision for this county to see Osceola at 41, I know we can be a top 20 district. We can be a top 10 district, and we can take that top spot.
Mm-hmm. So, I've seen some of the comments as the video was playing. It was talking about the data. And so there's a couple of things that I want to bring up in this clip, and the reason why I'm highlighting this clip, because he was talking to Osceola, okay, another district that he was applying for. He has accepted the job in Sarasota, okay, but he mentioned his wife and he mentioned data, and so I want to mention this article that is in the Tampa Bay Times in regards to some allegations of misconduct in testing, okay? So this report says that there are accounts of testing advice in Hillsborough that led to allegations of wrongdoing, okay? So I'm going to just give you the summary of what this article says, and then I am going to post the link in the comments so that you can read it on your own and you can form your own type of conclusion on the matter. So in this article, it highlights that there was an individual, a whistleblower, that came forward. Her name is Kayla. And Kayla came forward because she is a science coach, or at least she was. She has since taken a leave and is no longer working in this district, and I wonder why. So this science coach had came forward because she had heard that there was some advice that was being spread around about ensuring that certain kids did not test, and if the students were not performing, to not give them the test. Now, for those of you that are in the classroom, you already know how this type of thing goes down, so I will say it without saying it, okay? Let me turn up my mic so the people in the back can hear me. Okay, so you have this science coach that came forward to say that she had heard unethical advice about the protocols of testing. She came forward and she talked about this allegation. Now, what I want to report and I want to highlight is something in this article that I want you to read for yourself, but this section right here, okay? But according to a report they released after a Tampa Bay Times public records request, they were told not to interview Region Superintendent Lindsay Starr-Connor, the focus of their inquiry, which was an unusual accommodation. Lindsay Starr-Connor is married to Terry Connor, who has since resigned and have left the district, and it may have something to do with these allegations. Not sure. I don't know, but what I do know is that the article is linked in the comments, and y'all can go look at it yourself, okay? Because people lie, receive stuff. So Terry Connor now goes and he takes this job, so now the second in command is gone, okay? So now the first of command, all right? Now, News4Jax they posted the following headline, and I actually want to pull it up on the screen so that you can actually see the headline, so that you don't be like, oh, here comes Bianca. She out here. Listen, I'm out here just showing you the receipts, okay? All right, this is the headline. It says, former Clay County Superintendent, referring to Addison, resigns, new post. He has expressed interest in the DCPS superintendent job. That's what the headline says, and here, I'm going to show it to you. All right, there we go. Now, what I found interesting in this article from News4Jax is the video that accompanied this article. So, without further ado, we're going to roll the clip, okay, of this, because I want you to hear what they are saying in Jacksonville. Duval.
Superintendent Addison Davis has turned in his resignation as superintendent in Hillsborough County. That fuels speculation he could be a candidate for the top job here in Duval County. News4Jax reporter Ann Maxwell joining us live to lay out what we know so far about this. Ann.
Kent, Davis hasn't yet returned our request for comment today, but several months ago, he told News4Jax he's interested in the superintendent job here in Duval County. That was before there was any indication Dr. Diana Green would be retiring early. In this letter obtained by News4Jax Thursday, Addison Davis announces he is resigning effective July 14th after 3 years as the Hillsborough County Schools superintendent. He writes, "Please understand that this is one of the most difficult decisions that I have ever had to make, as our work in HCPS is not done. With this said, I have the opportunity to return to Northeast Florida, where my entire family resides." The timing of his resignation is raising questions about whether Davis is angling for the top job at Duval County Schools. According to his bio on the Hillsborough Schools website, Davis worked in Duval County Schools for 18 years, starting as a teacher before rising to several leadership positions, including principal, region superintendent, and chief of schools. He was then elected superintendent in Clay County, moving on in 2020 as superintendent of Hillsborough County Schools, where he oversaw the transition to distance learning during the pandemic. His resignation letter lists a long series of accomplishments, including resolving the $150 million budget deficit he faced at the start of his tenure and improving the district's graduation rate to 89%, its highest ever, he says. However, Davis has also faced challenges and controversy. The Tampa Bay Times reports his job was in jeopardy when school principals complained about his management style in an anonymous survey. But the Times also reports he received a favorable evaluation from the school board in 2022 and that the Hillsborough Classroom Teachers Association wished him well and said it looks forward to him being a strong voice for students and employees as Hillsborough County looks for his replacement. And we just heard back from a spokesperson for the school district within the past hour saying they're at the very beginning of their search and they haven't yet identified or interviewed any candidates. And I also want to note, we reported yesterday the CEO of the Florida School Board Association told the board here in Duval County that it's a really tough time to find superintendents right now. She said fewer people from out of state are applying, salaries are going up, and there's competition because there are several open superintendent jobs across the state. Tampa Bay added to that list now. Reporting live in Jacksonville, Ann Maxwell, Channel 4, the local station.
Ooh, child. So I see there's some stars, and I thank you for the stars. And so I appreciate your love in this. So I'm playing the clip from News4Jax, and I'm seeing the comments come in about some of the conversation that's happening. And you know what? This is what I'm going to say. All right. I have been inundated with a bunch of rumors, a bunch of lies, a bunch of allegations. Some allegations that I actually took it upon myself to figure out and get the receipts for, because some of the allegations I was like, come on, man. Y'all, okay. At one point, somebody had pinned a baby on Addison, and that's too much. Okay, listen, I will say that here we are. I need y'all to watch what's happening. But my folks in Hillsborough County, we've been sounding this alarm on what's happening in this district for quite some time now. Thankfully, the district is in the black, but for how long? Because at one point the district was in the red, and then you had a whole bunch of people say that that wasn't true and didn't even pull up the receipts to go find it. But here we go. I'm snitching. So, according to the Tampa Bay Times, on Tuesday, the district will have a special call board meeting at 3 p.m., right before the scheduled 4 p.m. business meeting to discuss next steps. What those next steps are, I'm not sure. School board member Jessica Vaughn on Thursday, she went live to provide her reactions and answer some of the questions that she's been receiving from the community, because just as the board members were notified on Thursday, so was the community notified on Thursday. Now, the tea is, and the allegation is that people had already kind of figured that he was going to transition out because he had sold his home and bought another property in Clay County. So, I mean, and that's all public records, folks. Like, you can go find that out. Like, these are just receipts, right? So when that happened, people was like, he's not really invested in Tampa since he's not having any type of properties here, whatever have you. At the end of the day, he's leaving, and so there needs to be someone that comes in. And so that leaves me with this. So there are 4 people that are internal that have expressed somewhat of an interest and or have been kind of talked to about taking over as the interim superintendent while they do this search. Okay, there was 4 different people. I have listed them here. Their pictures are here so you can see who they are. Okay, my probability and my thinking, I think that they're going to select Van Ayers. He has been in this district with Jeff, and he's been in this district with Addison, and he's been in this district for quite some time. So I think that Van Ayers being the interim superintendent, that makes the most sense. Chris Farkas has expressed interest of being the superintendent. To remind you and recall, he actually put his name on the list to run to be a superintendent in 2020, and then, of course, he didn't get the job. So there's that. And so then you have Shay McCray. There have been conversations about her leading, but let me take this off the screen so you can see my face when I say that. So I have no personal issues with Shay. Anytime that I need some, I'm able to call her. She's very responsive. We have a great working relationship in this work. But what we not going to do is we not going to have a black woman in this position and y'all do her like how Duval did Dr. Green. Okay? How they did Dr. Green and essentially forced her to retire was wrong and messed up. And what we don't need to have happen is Shay inherit all of this BS with Hillsborough, and then y'all put it on her, because that's exactly what's going to happen. So I think Shay should stay where she's at. The Transformation Network has made some significant gains and improvement based on the data and the data alone. So Shay can say that she has done her job and done her work. Yes, there are some criticisms. What could she do better? And, of course, everybody's going to criticize. And then the last person that's up here is Michael, the chief of staff. And so I don't know Michael like that. I don't have a working relationship with him like that, so I don't know. I can't give my personal opinion on it. But my personal opinion would be for Van Ayers. And that's where I'm going to leave it there. And I want to know from you in the comments, what do you think? Out of these 4 people that have been highlighted and identified, who would you want to be the interim superintendent? Because school board members, they do watch this broadcast, and they do see what's happening over here with Teaching for the Culture and what I do personally. So let your people know, your school board members and your representatives, the people that represent you, let them know what you want, okay? So there are so many questions and allegations about this turnaround, and the only thing that really concerned me that I want to add voice to is that the 30-day notice was the hardest pill to swallow, was giving 30 days of I'm out for the superintendent job, for the rezoning and the redistricting that's happening, for the recent changes and the closures that are coming It's a lot that's happening. So you got the first and second in command where we just don't know what's going to happen with that. And so that is the entire district, the vision. What is going to be the vision? So I ask you, okay, as we're talking about this superintendent search, what qualities and attributes do you hope to see in the next superintendent? That's a question that I want y'all to think about, is what qualities and attributes do you see in the next superintendent? Okay, and so the question on the floor is, what argument for Van, besides the fact that he's been there a long time? I will say that Van has had a track record, according to people who I've talked to, that he is someone that is approachable. Other than he has a historical information, personally, I don't live in Hillsborough. I don't have children in Hillsborough. The only thing I will say is that, we got to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out. Somebody's going to have to figure it out. So if Van is not able to take it, or no one wants Van to take it, then who's going to take it? Somebody is going to have to be the interim superintendent, and someone is going to have to figure out how to right this ship. And so I go back to the three keys I always talk about: accountability, transparency, and integrity. And so I'm glad that Mama cleared it up. Yes, I do. I do have children in this district, but there's a lot of people that say that my voice in this doesn't matter because my zip code is in Pinellas County. I've been very transparent about my zip code and where I live, but I am invested in this. I want our children to have a great leader, and I want this process to be done with fidelity. And I also want accountability, transparency, and integrity, what we've always been talking about. So I don't know what this is going to look like. So this is why y'all, the community, need to tune in to the school board meeting on Tuesday at 3 p.m. If you're unable to watch it live, then see the replay and watch what's happening. Watch the conversation. Watch what your school board members are saying, okay? This is a great time to reach out to your school board members to tell them what you want and what you don't want. They're going to have a conversation about who's going to be the interim superintendent. Who knows what that's going to be like? But add your voice into that conversation, okay? The question on the floor is, are they using the same firm as last time to do this nationwide search? Well, I would hope not, okay, because if y'all missed the 2020 debacle with the superintendent search, there's archives and videos for days that you can go watch. I literally broke down the superintendent search when it happened and all the shenanigans that happened back in 2020, okay? So I hope that they don't use Ray and Associates this go around. I hope that they figure out something different on what they're going to do. But just even people that want to apply to be a superintendent is declining. Who is coming into education anymore? The graduations that we're having, have you seen how many College of Education students have passed through? That number is dwindling. We don't have a bunch of people that are coming in that desire to be educators, that desire to be superintendents, and to be in this education space. Education has been a war zone, particularly in Florida. And so I hope that this is a warning and a message for all of you in the community. No one is coming to save your baby. We have to save our babies. And that means that you have to be intentional with making sure that they get what they need and connecting with people in the village to make sure that they get what they need. Otherwise, they won't. So with all that being said, that's what's happening now. The question was WWJD. And so some of y'all like, what are you talking about? Well, so we had a question on what would Jeff do? Well, I'll tell you, because people have been sending me receipts of Jeff. Jeff is minding his own business. Jeff is laying up with his dog. He is not fooling around with y'all. He is not playing with y'all at all. He said, leave me alone. Leave me be. I'm not in it. So that's what Jeff would do, and that's what Jeff is doing. So leave him out of it. He done told y'all to leave him alone, okay? He is resting with his dog in Georgia with his family. Leave him alone, okay? He said he done, and he's tired of talking about Hillsborough. He's tired. Leave him alone. So my next segment is I have two things that I want your thoughts on. It's things that have been going viral, and conversations have been happening, and I want to have a conversation with you because it's on the internet, and we're just random people on the internet. So I want to know. Oh, the question is, what would Mary Ellen Elia do? Now that that was a good one, right? What Mary Ellen Elia do? Child, listen. She said she ain't messing with y'all either. She ain't messing with y'all either. Y'all, she is not messing with y'all in Hillsborough. So I'm just praying what this new superintendent search gonna look like. I pray for these school board members. I pray for the teachers. I'm just pause right here because I'm going to move on to another segment. But I need y'all to pray for our educators, and not just be like pray for the educators, but understand that this environment is very toxic for them. We're underfunded. There are so many demands, and the environment is getting out of control, particularly because of these cell phone devices. So I hope that you really be intentional with the school system, the school district, and maybe you don't live in Hillsborough, but you just want to catch up with what's happening. Pinellas just had a new superintendent a year ago. Sarasota just got a new superintendent. Manatee County just got a new superintendent. If you look at, there's a lot of new superintendents that's going on here in the state of Florida. And it's because of the climate and culture and some of the laws that will now be implemented due to our last session is going to dismantle public education. I'm telling you, the writing is on the wall. It's on the wall. Emily said 47 counties out of 60 in the past 3 years. Wow. Think about that. So there are studies that show that when a principal leaves a school, that it changes the climate and culture of the school for 1 to 3 years. So just imagine what these superintendent search yields and results. I don't know. Y'all ask questions. Okay. So moving forward from this Hillsborough County foolishness, because it's going to be a lot. And also note, while I'm here talking about Hillsborough, this building behind me, okay, this is a graphic that I made almost 2 years ago, okay? All right. Y'all better watch it. Y'all better watch it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to change my background back, but you see what it say. All right, so there's a high school graduate that spoke out because the principal had refused to give her diploma on stage. And so I want to play the clip, and I want to know your thoughts. So let's roll the clip.
Now to the Philadelphia teenager whose graduation was memorable for all the wrong reasons. The 17-year-old had her diploma snatched away, all because of the way she walked across the stage. For more on what happened last week and why, we turn to Action News reporter Brianna Smith, live outside Philadelphia High School for Girls in Olney. Brianna.
Sarah, the recent graduate, is asking for an apology and calling for change after she did not receive her diploma on stage. Some school leaders say it's because she broke the rules. However, she argues she was just expressing herself during a once-in-a-lifetime event.
She stole that moment from me. I will never get that again.
Hafsa Abdur-Rahman cried tears of humiliation instead of joy at her high school graduation on June 9th. The 17-year-old says the principal warned students their families could not cheer or clap when they walk on stage.
And I understood the rules, so I was telling in the video, I'm like, do not say nothing because I want my diploma. I knew and understood what we were supposed to do.
In this video, you can see Abdur-Rahman dance across the stage and then hear the response from the crowd. She says because they laughed, the principal told her she could not receive her diploma.
If they thought that I shouldn't do the gritty across the stage and do the Girls High traditions, nobody should have been able to wave or blow kisses or do period signs because I feel like that's the same thing. So I just thought it was really unfair.
Abdur Rahman says she's not alone. 3 other girls did not get their diplomas on stage, but all of them did after the ceremony. The school district of Philadelphia said in a statement, quote, "The district does not condone the withholding of earned diplomas based on family members cheering for their graduates. We apologize to all the families and graduates who were impacted and are further looking into this matter to avoid it happening in the future." Although Abdur Rahman wishes she had a better experience, she and her mother hope school leaders learned a valuable lesson.
It's 2023. A lot has happened. These girls went through COVID together. I understand traditions and rules are set, in place for a reason, and we're not saying that they should be broken, but it might need to be revised also.
Now, Hafsa says it wasn't just about her, but this moment was also in honor of her sister, who was killed at 14 years old. Now, we reached out to the principal to talk about what happened, but she was unavailable to speak. In Olney, Brianna Smith, Channel 6 Action News.
Just let the children celebrate, please. Just let the children celebrate. Erlisha said in the comments, a young man in Hillsborough County did not get his diploma because he had a lunch balance of $5. Yeah. It's really sad to see how just the lack of letting people be has resulted in this. Just letting people be. The laws and how people have been acting and reacting to things. I'm just trying to be grounded. It's very hard to be in this space and see all of the stuff that's happening and trying to be positive, but what the heck is going on? Why is this happening? So I thank you for sharing your thoughts in the comments, because I saw it and I was just like, wow. I could see if Lil Baby was twerking and was disturbing the entire flow of the graduation. All she went like this and did a little skip, that's it. But that didn't happen. And so going to talk about diplomas for a moment, there was a comment earlier, and I'm going to scroll to find it, because that was actually what we were talking about on the radio earlier today. So if you don't know, I was on Representative Hart's show this morning, and we were talking about what's happening in the state of public education, particularly in Hillsborough County, for people to know. And this was this comment here says, I understand what you have presented. However, how does he account for the high number of students attaining attendance diplomas? So we talked about the attendance diplomas and the certificates on the radio show today, because there's a high number of students that did not meet their requirements to graduate, whether that was not having enough credits or just some other miscellaneous things such as testing, where they do not have their high school diploma. They have walked through the stage and have done all the performative things, but on paper, they do not have everything that they need to move forward in their educational journey. And so these are questions that we need to ask the new superintendent on how we're going to address this. We need to address this to the interim superintendent. In fact, this is something that needs to be asked to the school board members now. What is happening to our children now, and what can be done to help our children make sure that they get across the finish line? Speaking of graduation, no graduation, no peace, huh? So I've seen viral, a lot of conversations about how there were 8th graders that were turned away from graduation, and parents were furious. And this is going to open this conversation, and I hope that everyone pays attention. But I'm just going to roll the clip because I want to know your thoughts on the matter. No justice, no peace, huh? For the 8th grade graders that were unable to participate in graduation. Let's roll the clip.
Heartbreak for North County parents and their children after the kids are turned away from their 8th grade graduation ceremony. Angry parents called me to get answers from the school district. We headed out to do just that in tonight's You Paid For It. These parents from Westview Middle School in the Riverview Gardens School District are livid. It was supposed to be one of the best moments of their lives for their kids. Instead, it turned out to be one of the worst. This mother and her 14-year-old daughter came to the middle school on Wednesday for her 8th grade graduation ceremony at Westview. Both mother and daughter got the shock of their lives when a teacher at the door told them they couldn't come in, this as her classmates were allowed to pass through.
She was hurt and her feelings was hurt, and it was embarrassing. I wasn't the only parent out.
So you went to the door, and they said sorry?
They said sorry.
You and your daughter at
Yes.
the door, and you got turned away at the door.
Got turned away at the door.
This couple ran into the same trouble when they arrived at the door with their daughter, and she also turned away. What did hurt you most about all this?
Honestly, my baby, like her missing out on this experience, and
the tears coming out of her
eyes.
She
was
the
really
embarrassment that she felt.
She not
the
even.
Staff talked to her like she was an illegitimate person walking down the street and not a student of this establishment.
I called the Riverview Gardens School District. Officials told me they put out a list of no-nos that disqualified kids from participating in the graduation ceremony, even though they graduated and were promoted on to high school. Among the things on the list, bad attendance, fighting, and the like. They say they sent the information to parents and let them know how their kids were faring along the way. Parents I talked to said they didn't get a heads up that there were any problems. One parent even showed me a special certificate praising her daughter along with a certificate of graduation. I went to Riverview Gardens and talked to the superintendent.
Schools do have policies and procedures that we ask all of our young people to abide by, whatever school, and not just in Riverview Gardens, but in all school districts. And there will be points and times when there may not be to the parents' pleasure that a student is removed or not allowed to participate in an activity.
I feel like she was robbed. I was robbed as well, because that was her moment. That was her moment.
True that. The superintendent did say she's going to phone the parents who appeared on our broadcast who said they got a bad deal trying to get into the promotion ceremony. The superintendent will try to ascertain just what happened to figure out just how to make improvements. You know I'm going to stay on top of this deal. After all, you paid for it.
So, I don't know. They're going to investigate it. Now, the question that I had, though, when I watched it, I was like, okay, so apparently there was some notice, maybe or maybe not you received it, but there was some notice that your child was not eligible to participate for whatever reason, and that issue wasn't brought up during the news interview, or maybe it wasn't played during the interview. I'm not sure. You know how interviews go where they only clip certain pieces and don't play it in its totality. So I don't know. But it opens the conversation up to parents, caregivers, and community members. And so I do want to make this a whole marketing spin and make this a little comical as I shift my position in this. So just give me a moment here. Let me go ahead and transition some things up and let me get it together. So one second, bear with me. Because y'all want to go out there to the school and play games. Y'all like to play games, and I like to play them too. I like to play games, and y'all like to play games. Parents, caregivers, and community members, please hear me as I say this. It is very important that if you're going to go to the news about something that's happening, that you are very transparent about what your child did. What I am finding very interesting is how we have parents and caregivers that want to hold the school district and the school systems accountable, but yet they do not hold their own child and their own seed accountable. Okay, you hear where I'm going? Okay, I have made it very, very clear to y'all that I try not to act a fool on this internet, but y'all parents and caregivers, y'all coming up to the school smelling like a pound of marijuana and demanding that somebody, parents and caregivers and community members and the people that are watching this right here, listen to me as I'm telling you that your child is watching examples of how you conduct yourself. So when you go up to the school and you acting a fool, you don't think that your child is going to replicate that behavior? Okay? School is out. Some of your children may need summer school. Y'all need to figure that out. Like I said on the radio today, we do not have enough people to intentionally call and make sure every child is compliant and that every child is where they need to be. We don't have that. So with that being said, it is up to you parents, caregivers, the village, to figure out what your child's status is in regards to their education outcomes. It's your job. Please, parents and caregivers, do not act like you have no idea what's happening, because I'm telling you, the educators don't know either. Okay? They don't. It's so much that's going on. Teachers are tired. They're stressed out, and it's looking real messy, like how my wig is looking a mess. So, parents, you in these car lines, y'all get into these fights, and y'all just doing a whole lot, and we have to change that. So, I need y'all to make a promise, and I need y'all to take the pledge. Roll the clip. Yes, indeed. This is what the pledge says. If you could not read it on the screen, or you're listening to this in a different format, because we're all over Spotify, we're on podcasting channels, we have a YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, by the way, and I'll make sure I post the link in the comments. But this is the pledge. I pledge to continue my journey of self-awareness, committed to showing up better each day than the day before. I pledge to confront every obstacle, knowing that I will overcome. I am a survivor. I am worthy of greatness. I am enough and deserve to achieve my goals. I pledge to be a good human and find ways to give others the opportunity to learn from my journey. I will use my story to change the world. I pledge to abide by the 3 principles and keys to my success: accountability, transparency, and integrity. This is for the culture. This concludes today's episode. And with all being stated, there's a lot of transitions that's happening. There are a lot of things that are happening in our world, and we have to be better people. We have to be better humans. We have to foster love and give grace and empathy. I will continue to keep Addison Davis uplifted in prayer on whatever it is that he is whatever is going on. If there is anything going on, I'm praying for him. I'm praying for our educators that are trying to survive out here in these streets, that did not get a raise, by the way, because I'm tired of those headlines. They received what was owed. And to be honest, they owed way more than what they are receiving right now. I pray for the school counselors. I pray for just the people that make this ship together. We can make this a better place, but it is an intentional choice we all have to do. We all have to intentionally want to do better and be better. And until then, I don't know what else is going to save this, and I don't know what else is going to fix it. But we have a governor that is running around here vetoing some amazing programs out here to save our community. We out here having these political discord, and it deserves some rest. We need to love on one another more than anything right now in this vital time. And so I'm leaving you with that. Please love on your neighbor. Please be kind and practice empathy. And you know how I'm always going to say, govern yourselves accordingly, because do not start as what ye cannot finish around here. All right? Period, poo. And I hope that y'all have an amazing weekend. Shout out to Juneteenth, okay, which, by the way, that will mark a year since my open heart surgery, and I can't wait to tell y'all about the things that have been happening and the shifts and all of that. Make sure you follow me on Patreon and you follow on all of our social media links, because we have some amazing things that are happening. So I love you so much. Go in love, be blessed, be encouraged, and of course, remember, people lie, receipts don't. Bye.